Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again, and welcome to another video here at Wildflower Lacquer. In today's video, we are continuing on with more of my fall polishes for this season, fall 2023. This is a continuation of the collaboration, so definitely make sure to check out the list down below for all of the other participants in this collaboration. You're going to see a lot of other beautiful fall polishes on those channels as well. A big thank you, as always, to each of those participants and everyone involved in making the collaboration happen every season. Now let's go ahead and get into part 2. If you missed part 1, I'll post the link up there in the cards. We went over the burgundies and a little bit into the oranges, and in today's video we are doing a mix of some greens and oranges. So let's dig in. The first one is another potion polish. I actually have quite a number of these on my fall seasonal rack. This one is Day at the Pumpkin Patch, and this is another one with reflective glitter. So as you can see, you've got these twinkles from those really beautiful reflective components. Then you have amazing flakies all in this rusty pumpkin-y orange. It is beautiful. Now, just to do a side-by-side comparison to the other orange that I have also from Potion Polish on my seasonal rack, the new one is a little bit more yellow leaning in its tone. It also has much more prominent flakies, whereas the second one, which is Pumpkin Toddy, is by comparison a shade darker. It's got a little bit more of that rust tone, where by comparison the one that also is a bit rusty is not quite as rusty, if that makes any sense. Anyways, we have Pumpkin Toddy and Day at the Pumpkin Patch. So here is Day at the Pumpkin Patch in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this one does have reflective glitter, so I think when I wear it, I'll most likely be wearing a glitter smoother and then a glossy top coat, but I absolutely love this color. This shade of this squashy pumpkin is just beautiful. So that one I'm really excited to wear. That is 2 coats of Potion Polish Day at the Pumpkin Patch. Next up is a lighter shade of orange, this time from Lynn B Designs. This one is It Ain't Easy Being Cheesy. And this one I put on my fall rack mainly as a topper, but I will show it swatched in 3 coats. This one is a lighter shade of this peachy orange, but again, it is jam-packed full of flakies. Look at all those colors. So you're going to have oranges, golds, yellows, greens at certain angles. I think there's also some silver holographic flakies in there, the tinier ones that you can see there. So really beautiful combination. I think this is one that I'll be wearing probably over some of the darker orange creams that we'll be looking at, or the burgundy browns that we looked at in part 1. So I'm excited to see how this is going to look worn that way. But here it is in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. This one is in a squishy base, so it will maintain a squish factor, but that also means that it has those topper possibilities I was mentioning. I think it'll look amazing over a lot of different colors, and it also allows you to see all of those beautiful layers of those flakies in the polish. So that was 3 coats of Lynn B Designs. It Ain't Easy Being Cheesy. Next up, we're getting into some Wildflower Lacquers. I have a few of these on my fall rack. This first one is a little shellfish, and this one I've had in my collection for quite a while, and I need to get this on my nails. This one I remember the name of, but I honestly didn't remember what it would look like, and it is such a perfect fall polish, you guys. It is incredible. So it is this very squishy brown base, jam-packed again with flakies. Can you tell I like flakies? So we have at least a couple of different kinds. You have these electric greens that pop out of there. Then you have those fall shades of oranges, golds, some reds. It is really beautiful. And again, you have this scattering of a holographic component in there as well. This is another one that I can most likely wear as a topper over other colors as well. Most likely just in the darker range, probably along the lines of this color range here. This one is from Wren called Brick House. Colors like this I think would look so beautiful with this color over it. So that's one of the combinations that I'm hoping to wear this season. But here is a little shellfish all on its own in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. So look at all the colors, and it's a very interesting shade of brown too. Brown is one of those colors that I don't wear often, but it is growing on me. I recently wore, right after part 1, this one from Trust Fund Beauty, which is kind of a brown leaning red. The base of it though is more of like a caramel. In any case, before I get completely sidetracked, that one was incredible. I loved that one. So in any case, this is another brown that I'm excited to try, dip my toe more into, since I, like I said, haven't really worn them very often prior to this occasion, and this one has a ton of flakies, as you can see. Again, you're going to get kind of a squishy factor there, but I think with polishes like this, once they're on your nail, the polishes do a really good job about distracting you from the visible nail line if you can still see it, or if you don't want to have that visible nail line, you could always put this over a blurring base coat or a matching undie, or use it as a topper. So that's Wildflower Lacquer's A Little Shellfish in 3 coats. We are going straight into another Wildflower Lacquer. This one is Mousse. This one came out in Polished Pickup back in February 2019 when they still had the square bottles. And this one is another one that I'm curious to try out. I've again obviously had it in my collection for a few years now. And this one is a beautiful, rather sheer multi-chromatic base. You have multi-chromatic flakies that are in a different coloration than the base. The base shifts from this brownish red to gold, yellow, and green. And then the flakies have purples and blues, greens in them. This is a pretty unique polish to my collection as well. So here's Mousse in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. This one does maintain a bit of sheerness on those 3 coats, so if you have a really prominent nail line, you might still see a little bit on your nail, but I think for shorter nails, you'd definitely be okay. This is one that I'll probably be wearing all on its own. This is another one that I'm excited to try this season. That is Wildflower Lacquer's Mousse. Next up, we have one from Girly Bits. This one is called Destination Serenity. This one is another from HHC, this time from 2021, and this is another one that has amazing fall colors. I should probably stop saying that about all these colors because I think all of them obviously are fall colors. In any case, this one has a rather sheer base to it, and again, we're dealing with a shimmer that has a multi-chromatic shift to it. I mean, look at those colors. It is like a dark sunset in a bottle. You have this very sheer, somewhat blackened base, but not blackened like most blackened polishes are. It's just got this sort of smoky quality to it. And then you have that amazing shifting component in here. So you're seeing reds, burgundies, orange, golds, greens. It is beautiful. So here's Destination Serenity in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. This one I think is going to be really interesting on the nail. Like I said, it does maintain a rather sheer quality about it, but I think on shorter nails you probably won't really notice that. There, hopefully you can see that sort of smoky quality that the base has there. And then you can see that multi-chromatic pigment in those beautiful warm fall shifts. So that one was Girly Bits Destination Serenity in 3 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up is a Bee's Knees lacquer. This one is Skull and Bones, and this is another one that has reflective glitter. So this is, again, need I say it, a perfect fall polish. You have this sort of bronze base, and then you have shifts in it. There's gold and green. You have the reflective components, which I think in this one are silver. So this one I'm excited to try this season as well. It's, again, one of those color families that I don't really get on my nails very often, but I'm feeling it this season, so I want to get this one on my nails as well. So here's Skull and Bones. This one is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this is another one that, because it is a reflective glitter, you might get a little bit of texture on the nail. I might try it out with a top coat and then see how it goes on my nails. Depending on the formulation of reflective glitters, sometimes you really do need that glitter smoother on top and then your glossy top coat. In some cases though, if it's scattered enough, you don't really need to even it out. It doesn't end up as thirsty, but this one does seem to be sort of somewhere in the middle, not overly crowded with those reflective glitters, but they definitely are in there to add a nice twinkle to the nail. So that was 2 coats of Bee's Knees lacquer, Skull and Bones. Next up is one that I'm definitely going to be using as a topper. This is Lucky 13 Lacquers. You're so beautiful when you hate the world. This one is a multi-chromatic flaky topper, and look at these colors. It has amazing fall shades. You have reds, burgundies, oranges, different shades of oranges, golds, yellows, greens, blues even at angles. You can see that kind of popping up there. You even have sort of a dark pink that flashes occasionally. So yeah, just absolutely amazing. Look at that green and gold mixture. So pretty. So here's that one in 2 coats with the glossy top coat. This one I did just leave in 2 coats because, like I said, I will be wearing it as a topper. I don't think it was ever really intended, I don't think, to be an opaque polish all on its own. The base is definitely clear, but look at those flakies. Ugh, I just love all the different colors that you're seeing. Again, such a perfect fall polish. This one I'm most likely going to be wearing over a few fall shades, maybe some of the lighter oranges that we're going to get to here in a moment. I might also try them maybe over some of the brick red colors. I think that combination would be really nice as well. But there's 2 coats of it all on its own. That was Lucky 13 Lacquers, You're So Beautiful When You Hate the World. All right, now getting into some of our orange creams. The first one is from OPI, and this one is called My Italian is a Little Rusty. Now, this is one that I'm pretty sure I had destashed at some point. It is a classic OPI, and I actually didn't have it in my collection until probably the last year and a half or so, and then I ended up destashing it because I think I did a comparison of it to another polish and it was pretty similar, but then I ended up getting it again a second time in either a Goodwill bag or another haul, and I ended up keeping it that time. So I think I will go ahead and give it a try, at least while I have it in my collection, see if I like it, and maybe come back and do another comparison again at some point in the future. But here is that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Apologies about the fuzz that managed to get in there before I did the top coat, but look at that amazing color. This one is gorgeous. This is a perfect burnt orange. It is a beautiful color. It has that brown lean to it. So excited to try that. That is OPI's My Italian is a Little Rusty. Next up is another burnt orange, this time from Essie. This one is Playing Coy. This is another really popular color and one that I have had in my collection for a number of years, and I think I still have yet to wear it, so I need to get this one on my nails. This is another beautiful shade of a burnt orange. This one is a little bit redder, dare I say? Yeah, on the nails it's actually a bit redder than My Italian is a Little Rusty, but it's still a beautiful shade, and look how good that looks. That is such a flattering shade. I cannot wait to wear this one. This one really needs to get on my nails pretty soon. It is a stunning color. So that one is Essie's Playing Coy in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up is another burnt orange, this time from China Glaze, and this one is called Spice to Meet You. This one has less red in it than Plain Koi from Essie, and it's also a couple shades lighter. And here's that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. As you can see there, it's got a lot more of a pumpkininess than the reddish orange from Plain Koi, or even the brown leaning orange from OPI's My Italian is a Little Rusty. So that's why I ended up keeping so many of these types of oranges on my rack. There's actually quite a lot of differences once you have them all on the nail. So that's another that I'm very excited to try. That is China Glaze's Spice to Meet You. Next up we have another OPI, and this one is Have Your Panettone and Eat It Too, and this one is a slightly more squash leaning orange, and it is the lightest of the tones that we're going to look at today. Here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. As you can see, by comparison to the other rustier pumpkin shades, this one is actually almost kind of along the lines of a burnt macaroni orange. It is really pretty and a slightly lighter tone, like I said, to those other colors. It is a bit more like mustardy in person than I feel like it's coming off on camera. I feel like my camera's picking up a lot of that macaroni and cheese coloration, but there is a pinch more of a burnt brown quality to it, just a bit more on the yellow side than the burnt orange of My Italian is a Little Rusty. But there is OPI's Have Your Panettone and Eat It Too in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. All right, one more orange cream, this time from Death Valley Nails, and this one is Coquelicot. And this one, I believe, is one of their polishes that has an unusual ingredient, a natural component to make this color. And this one is a really interesting shade of a brown leaning orange, a bit darker than the one that we just looked at, Have Your Panettone and Eat It Too. So yeah, in person, this one definitely reminds me of peanut butter. It's got less orange than Have Your Panettone and Eat It Too, and it is a couple shades darker, but it's another one that I think is just perfect for the fall season. So that is Death Valley Nails Coquelicot in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now we're getting into some neutrals. This one is from Ren and it is called Peaches and Cream. So my bottle needs a good shakeup, but this is a very beautiful neutral shade. This orange is what gives it its tone, but there's a lot of white in here as well. Here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This one I think is one of the lighter shades on my fall rack this season, but another one that I think would make a really nice under shades like this from Lucky 13. That was You're So Beautiful When You Hate the World. Combinations like that I just think would be so fall. Ooh, especially matte. Ooh, I might have to try that. That is going to look gorgeous. Ooh, I can envision it already. So this is another one that I am excited to try for the season. That is Ren Lacquer's Peaches and Cream. Next up, we have another light shade, this time from L'Oreal, and this one is Julienne's Nude. This comes from, I think, an entire line that they had of matching nude colors to different, I think, celebrities, if I'm remembering correctly. In any case, this one is a really beautiful shade. It's sort of that mix between a brown and a mauve. So depending on if you have a darker skin tone, this might end up looking a bit pinker. If you have a lighter skin tone, it might end up looking browner. Just a really nice, beautiful neutral there. So that was L'Oreal's Julienne's Nude in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. All right, now we're getting into some greens. This next one is another China Glaze, and this one is called Aggro. This one is a really beautiful shade of a dark green, kind of like a forest green. It has a shimmer component to it as well. So here it is with 2 coats and a glossy top coat. Yeah, this is another one that I almost wanted to put on the minute I swatched it. It is such a beautiful shade of this dark green. I actually ended up doing this one, which we're going to see here on the nail wheel here in a second. But this one is a really amazing shade of green. I'm very happy to have this one in my collection and hoping to get it on my nails this season. So as you can see, as you tilt it towards the different light source, you kind of get this bronzy look to it. So there's a subtle shift to it. Really nice shade there. That is China Glaze's Aggro. Next up, we have one from 90 Lacquer. This one is Singer Auto Salvage. And I know I've had this on my fall racks before, but I honestly cannot remember if I got it on my nails or not. So we're going to give it another try and attempt to get it on my nails. This one is another beautiful shade of a deep green. This time we have a scattering of, I believe, a gold holographic glitter in there. It's sort of along the lines of a dark army green, very fall-esque. So here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. I think there you can see more of that glitter component in there twinkling away nicely. This is one that I would say is going to be somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater, but for my swatching purposes, I thought that 2 coats worked rather nicely with this one. Love the color again. And there you can see the color differences between Singer Auto Salvage and Aggro from China Glaze. They are obviously very different in their formulations, but you've got to pinch more of that army green color in Singer Auto Salvage, whereas the one from China Glaze has more of that dark foresty green to it. So that was 90 Lacquer's Singer Auto Salvage with 2 coats and a glossy top coat. Next up, we have another Bee's Knees lacquer. This one is I'm the Only Leftover. This one is a very interesting color. I think the base of this one is kind of a yellow leaning green. It's kind of hard to see past all of the beautiful shimmer in here. This one is jam-packed full of this larger particled component that has all of these warmer fall colors, the reds, oranges, and golds. You've got some green there at the edges. You see that pop? So beautiful. This is one that's very unusual to my collection because I'm not normally drawn to these sort of pruglies, if you will, but I'm very excited to try this one, especially after swatching it. Here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. I mean, look how unusual that is. So the base of it is kind of hard to see, but there you see that sort of a greenish yellow hue to it. Very unusual, like I said. And then you have that very strong shimmer component to it, adding the warm fall tones of those oranges. And again, I love this size of shimmer component. I love how it twinkles and shimmers. This is another one that does fall somewhere between a 2 and 3 coater depending on your nail length and application, and of course how you like your polishes to look, but I was okay with 2 coats of this, and I actually think that's probably how I'll end up wearing it on my nails. But yeah, really excited to try this. I mean, look at that. Oh, that is simply beautiful. So that one is Bee's Knees Lacquer. I'm the Only Leftover in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Next up, we're getting into more Wildflower Lacquers. There's 2 more. This one is Sunset Bringer, and this one came out in the October HHC for 2020. And oh my goodness, this is another one that is pretty unusual for me to have purchased, especially a couple of years ago, because it does have a pretty prominent golden component there. But as you can also see, it's not a gold, it's a yellow with orange, if that makes any distinction to anybody else. For me, it does make it something that I'm much more likely to enjoy because it isn't strongly a gold. You do, of course, have this incredible shift to it, as well as a very heavily packed holographic component. You've got greens, you've got oranges, it even dips into this black. So I mean, it is just so interesting. You have all of these colors from the hollow, from the multi-chromatic shifting shimmer. I mean, just look at that. That is mesmerizing, really. Just very pretty. This is another one that I think I need to get on my nails sooner rather than later. So here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now here I think you can tell much more of what I was talking about with it being technically a yellow. You don't get quite as much of that blackenedness that you do in the bottle. So I might actually end up wearing this over maybe a very dark green and see how I like it if I don't enjoy it on its own. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Again, you get these warmer shades with those oranges and rust shades. It is very, very unique. So excited to wear that one as well. That is Wildflower Lacquer's Sunset Bringer. And then we are moving on to the Wildflower Lacquer that is currently on my nails, and this one is Tonight We Fly. This is actually one that I found in one of the mystery boxes that I purchased, and I am so grateful that the seller included this in that box because this is stunning, you guys. It's actually one that I had sort of eyed when it was originally released, and for whatever reason I had talked myself out of it, but I mean, just look at the bottle shot here. You're seeing purples, blues, magentas, golds, greens, orange. Did I mention all the colors? I don't even know. It is just amazing. It's also sort of this, I can't quite tell if it's one of those black to red multichromes in a green base, or if it's a black to red multichrome with something else and then a green base. In any case, there are rainbows upon rainbows. It is like a deep oil slick rainbow, and it is amazing. I also love the particle size that was used, so very excited to have this, and as you can see, I have already worn it. I ended up using 1 coat over my previous mani, which was Trust Fund Beauty's Boisterous. I really enjoyed this one. I actually ended up wearing it for almost a week, but when I swatched this for part 2 of my fall rack, I had to put this on immediately. So here it is with 2 coats in a glossy top coat, and of course on me you can see what it looks like in just 1 coat over another color. This one has so many rainbows. What I find really frustrating though, as far as a filming standpoint, is it has an amazing green to it that really isn't showing, at least on my screen. That teal blue that you're seeing is actually a vivid forest green in person. It is really stunning. Very fall. I think the teal also would work for a fall polish, but it is not that color in person. It is forest green. It is really amazing. Very beautiful polish. Again, really happy to have ended up finding this in a mystery box. So that is Wildflower Lacquer's Tonight We Fly in 2 coats with a glossy top coat and in 1 coat over a previous mani. All right, just a couple more. The next one is from Victorian Varnish, and this is Happy Never After. This one came out, I believe, in one of their first releases in their Valentine's Day duo, and this is another one that is very dark and vampy, very fall-esque with a lot of the colors. I think this one is a black to red multichrome, but it also has a larger particled shimmer, as you can see there, with those green and blue flecks. This one is stunning again with the rainbows. You've got burgundies, you've got black, different shades of green, gold, orange, and even blue at the edges. Wow, yeah, I could stare at these all day. So here's that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Both of these formulations were very nice in 2. I don't see too many nail lengths needing more than 2 coats for full opacity, and you can see the difference there on the nail. The Victorian Varnish has none of that green, at least not predominantly. The green that it does have is from the speckles of the shimmer component as opposed to the multi-chromatic shift, but there's some red or burgundy at different angles, and then you have the blackened base. So that is Victorian Varnish Happily Never After. And then the last polish in part 2 is from Elegy, and this one is called Glissandi. This one has a shimmer base to it. You have a multi-chromatic component. You're going to see golds, reds, greens, yellows, and again, I love the particle size that was used in this polish. It's that slightly larger one that has a beautiful twinkle to it. So here is Glissandi in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Look at that. So this one has a beautiful, beautiful shift. Again, on the nail, you're kind of seeing this greenish gold with that beautiful pink pop at the face that shifts to gold and orange. This is another absolutely stunning color. If I am remembering correctly, I think this is another that I ended up getting in a mystery box. So that is 2 coats of Elegies Grisandi with a glossy top coat. And there we have it. That was part 2 of my fall nail polish rack. Again, make sure to check out the list down below for all of the other participants and their channels. And again, a huge thank you to everybody that put the collab together. If you're new, make sure to hit the little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and I will see you in that next one.